No business wants to pour money down the drain, especially when it comes to advertising. Today, I'm gonna walk you through the top 5 ways that med spas waste their money on Google Ads.
Hi, I'm Marilena, founder of ML Media. Med spa owners hire me when they want to grow their business through digital marketing.
Now, the very first one might seem really obvious, but in my opinion, it's the most important, which is why we have it at number 1, and that is separating your branded campaigns from your non-branded campaigns. Now, if you're not familiar with what that means, a branded campaign includes keywords that only have your business name or parts of it or variations of it. Non-branded campaigns typically represent your services. So if you wanted to have a campaign for body sculpting or another one for fillers and another one for facials, that would be considered a non-branded campaign. And then the top reason that this is so important is because you're able to separate budgets at the campaign level. And this comes in handy in the case that you see that one type of service is performing really well, you want to put more budget into that. Or in the case that seasonally, it's just not really a top performing service, we want to pause that altogether. Or maybe you have a seasonal promotion or a limited time offer. We can absolutely put more budget into that specific service. Now on the flip side, if we had them all lumped into just one campaign, we wouldn't be able to do that because Google uses its algorithm to determine where it should spend money on keywords. So we don't have control over where budget is being spent. Now I bring that up because typically when you start a Google Ads account, it encourages you to start a smart campaign. And I strongly don't agree with how they set this up. It is one lump thing that allows Google to do whatever they want with it. And in my experience, it's not a great way to use your money. Another reason why you want to separate this comes down to messaging. Think about who is searching your brand name. Someone who's already familiar with the service and might be comparing you against other businesses in the area. That means your messaging in the branded campaign should have more to do with what differentiates your business and what makes you stand out in comparison to your competitors. For the non-branded campaigns, for the services, you wanted to have the messaging talk more about the results or the problems that people are experiencing and what they can expect after coming in and getting that service. Coming in at number 2, we're talking about search terms. And the biggest mistake that I see businesses making around search terms is not consistently monitoring and excluding irrelevant search terms. Now, before we get into why this is so important, let's talk about the difference between a keyword and a search term. So a keyword is the words that we give Google to say we want our ads to show up when someone types this in. A search term is what the user actually types in when our ad shows up. And the reason why these may not necessarily be the same list of words has to do with the keyword match type. And there's 3 different levels. The most specific is exact match, followed by phrase match, and then lastly we have broad match. So if you have a lot of broad match keywords, there's a very good chance that your search terms does not match your keywords list. Broad match, we're going to be casting the widest net, which means that there's going to be a lot of irrelevant keywords within that search. Let's walk through a couple examples here of this, starting off with a branded campaign. Let's say that your business name is Serenity Med Spa, and in your branded campaign, you have broad match keywords. If someone were to type in your competitor down the street, Oasis Med Spa, your ad will show up because Google picked up on the med spa portion of that keyword because of the fact that it's broad match. Now, do you want to be showing up for your competitor in a search bar? Do we want to be conquesting entirely different conversation? I personally, in a branded campaign, only like to use exact match keywords and would advise against it, but let's talk about that if that's something you feel very strongly about. Now, on the flip side, in that same example for Serenity Med Spa, if you only use exact match and someone types in Oasis Med Spa, your ad will not show up. So that's the difference between a broad match keyword and an exact match keyword. Going into a non-branded campaign, something like a Kylie lip injection might be something that you think would be really relevant for your injectables campaign. However, from my own experience, I find that when people are searching for specific looks, they already have an injector or they're just looking for a picture of it. And most of the time, it's not going to be a converting keyword. We don't want to waste money on that. And so for that reason, I would exclude that or add it as a negative keyword into that search campaign. So we talked about how the keyword match type could be the reason why irrelevant search terms are showing up. Another reason that I have found is due to Google automation. So we have the option to turn on automations. Some of them are useful. Some of them I have found Google really doesn't really know what's going on with our specific campaigns, and they could be removing what they would be considered a redundant keyword or also adding keywords that are irrelevant. In that case, we either want to completely turn off that function or frequently be monitoring which search terms are coming up for our keywords. Now, the reason why this is so important is because Google Ads is a PPC service, which stands for pay-per-click. So if someone is clicking on that ad and not converting, we essentially have just wasted money on them going to our website, and it's not relevant to what they're searching for. It also means, because we all have limited budgets, that now Google has spent money on that and not on one that might be more relevant for someone who is converting. So all in all, we want to be monitoring those search terms, adding negative keywords and excluding keywords to make sure that our ad is only showing up for the keywords and search terms that are relevant. Coming in at number 3 is not updating your ad copy. And the biggest thing here is understanding who your target market is. What do they care about? What are their behaviors? Most of the time, what I see is that when people are searching non-branded words, in other words, your services, they know what their problem is and they know what their desired result is. They are not familiar with the medical lingo, nor do they really care what the service itself is called. So in that case, we want to include ad copy that has to do with the problem that they can relate to, as well as the desired results. Also in line with ad copy, how can we incorporate seasonality? Do you have limited time offers or promotions that you want to include into your ad copy? Or are there seasonal things that are happening that you want to speak to? For example, is sun damage a really big thing that you want to talk about post-summer? Or getting ready for holiday events? Do you have a lot of snowbirds that like specific services? So really speaking to the seasonality of your business can help lure in those new customers. Number 4 biggest mistake is not testing landing pages. How do we know which landing page converts the best unless we test them against each other in a true A/B test? A lot of times people assume that the home page is the most generic place to send people. However, sending them to a service page or an immediate contact us page can also be really successful for converting. Now, the one caveat here for med spas especially is that Google does have regulations, and what their crawlers do is they look at all of the words on the website, the landing page, and if there's anything that has a medical term, they tend to disapprove the ad. Now, there are ways around that. One of those being building a separate landing page specific for Google Ads. Another one being working with a Google Ads rep. And if that's something that you are looking to do, I can definitely help you with that. And finally, coming in at number 5, the mistake is not bidding more for affinity markets. So what this means is we can go to Google and say, we want to place a higher bid at auction for our ads to show on audiences who have interests that are consistent with our target market. So specifically for med spas, what I have found is bidding more for audiences that are interested in skincare as well as luxury travel tend to convert really well. Now, don't just limit it to that. Also look at who you know to be your target audience. For example, are they interested in health food or yoga and Pilates or golfing? So look at who you know to be your target market. And that's really similar to a bonus one here, and that is only bidding at times that you are seeing conversions coming in. We do not want to waste money for our ads to show up when we have a history of not having any conversions come in. Google is not shy about spending our ad money, so we want to make sure that we have our greatest budget available when we know the conversions are most likely to happen. I'm Marilena Lamb, founder of ML Media LLC. I hope that was very helpful for you. If you want to learn more or if you want to work together, let's chat.